You ever feel like that you're the smartest person in the room? Or it could be like you're the smartest person in your classroom. I feel it all the time. Go to my classroom in university, and I just feel like I don't belong there. And the fact that I feel like I don't belong there is because I know so much. I know so many things. I'm doing so many things at the same time. And I go into this room, this big ass theater classroom, and I'm like, what am I even doing here? I'm just like, what's the point of me being here? Because I could be doing so many things with my time. And I'm looking at the professor teaching us about multivariable calculus or whatever it is. And you're like, what's the point? I'm reading Dan Koh's newsletter. I'm trying to figure out how to monetize more. How do you figure out the whole online space? And I'm like, what am I even doing here? I think the way universities and colleges have conditioned people, because it worked before for a long period of time, but it's not really effective these days because if there's anything that you want to learn, all you have to do is just Google. There's almost everything everywhere. If there was ever a platform that can teach you everything, I would say that's got to be YouTube. Absolutely. There's like almost all sorts of courses out there. Whatever courses you need. You just have to type it in. When I go to class, when everyone's really concerned about what's going to be on the midterm and everything, here I am reading Dan Koh's newsletters and Dan Koh's blog and trying to figure out, okay, what's the best way to optimize my courses so that I have to study the bare minimum just to pass and just to like stay above my required GPA, but still also have the time to manage my work, still also have the time to work on my side hustles, to work on my business, and to keep up with dating life. Here's a little interesting story from a girl I knew. She was in business faculty. I've seen her 2 weeks ago, probably, and she already graduated. She was looking for a job. She graduated from business faculty, and she couldn't find a job for 3 months. But throughout her whole life, all she did was just study, was just go to class, cram for exams, grind through assignments, and all that shit. And I'm like, at the end of the day, after she graduated, she literally had like no skills. And here I am with like so many skills. Sometimes I feel like it's better if you're just dumb enough because you don't know enough. So whatever skill you have or whatever you know, you don't overthink it. Sometimes dumb people usually tend to make more money because they don't overthink it. They're not smart enough to actually doubt their credibility, to doubt their idea. Like, think about it. To be so dumb that you're not smart enough to doubt your own idea. And then they know that their idea will work. They end up making more money or being more successful. But the problem with being too smart is that you question yourself. You're like, is this going to work? Where is this going to lead to? You try to think 10 steps ahead, and then what ends up happening, you sometimes overshoot. And you're like in a state of paralysis. You're trying to figure out, is this going to work or is that going to work? Okay, what if it doesn't work? Okay, then what do I do? You stay in this fixed, sort of like this paralysis, this fixed state, and you just constantly overanalyze it. It's not a good thing. Sometimes I feel like you should just be an average person in this world. And here I am doing like 3 different things, trying to learn skills on the side, start this whole personal brand thing and whatever this thing is, and working on my side hustles in the business, trying to create this sales funnel, running ads and trying to bring leads to a business, learning web design, learning all sorts of creative skills. Like, what's the point of me going to class and learning about multivariable calculus? How does that help? Like, at the same time, I'm trying to help students the way that they study, because most students, what ends up happening, most students, they just don't. They're still following the very old traditional method of studying. They worked before, but now it's just like your degrees don't even matter, because by the time you have a degree, you don't really have any valuable skills at your disposal. You're like competing with like 10,000 other same applicants. I don't worry about that. I'm like, I've got skills. Well, like, because I think those who self-learn or who just loves to learn, they don't really care about what a paper says, or it doesn't really matter. As I have been in the academic environment, I know how frustrating it is while you're trying to be a student, learn how to make money on the side, optimize the way you learn. Most students don't have a way of optimizing the way they learn things or the way they learn their courses because the university is structured in a way that is just so old-fashioned. Even with a very mediocre GPA, I was like tutoring students from all faculties, mostly in writing, but I was tutoring students from all faculties. It's not because I knew any better. I was just very good at curating certain knowledge. Think of like, I was just great at Googling. I was just great at figuring out what their problem was and basically connected them with the solution they didn't know. I was just a middleman and curated all the solutions and the information they needed and just presented the solution to them. That way, I was able to tutor students, consult students, make quick bucks, and help them out. Because here's the thing, when students send an email to their professors or when they send an email to their TA or whatever, it takes them more than 6 hours to get back to them. But if students have the right tools, I don't think it's the right tools that matters. It's not the right tools. If students can craft a personalized system for them, then it's just like they don't need the right tools. They already have the right tools available at their disposal. They just need to find a way. They just need to craft their own system, or maybe they don't know how to craft their own system for studying, for example, or to learn things faster, because you don't really learn things in classroom. You just know some basic information in classroom from your hot professor or whatever, if you guys are lucky to have a hot professor. And then you just learn it by yourself. AI has massively improved the learning process. And the fact that the education system still has not integrated and welcomed AI because they're still following the old way of education and teaching, it's actually a disadvantage for students. So students don't know how to integrate these new AI tools, new technologies, and by the time they graduate, they literally have no fucking skills. They're more clueless after they're done graduating than they were before. Like, they spent 4 years trying to figure out what they want to do, and after 4 years, they really have no fucking clue, unless they're really from STEM fields. Is AI still a taboo, like latest technologies, or anything that's out of the ordinary, anything that's out of the norm, anything that's out of your academic syllabus, and it's not really encouraged. And one of the things that they discourage students is through this term called academic misconduct, right? It's like, if a particular tool or if a particular system is not mentioned in your syllabus, or if it's not mentioned by the professor, anything other than that you use to solve your assignment problems, course problems, or to solve your learning problems, whatever the fuck it is, that can be considered as academic misconduct. So that's a fear tactic. Like, think about it, that's a fear tactic. So that prevents students from being creative and study smarter. No students want to be hit with an allegation of academic misconduct. So that's a fear tactic. And that prevents students to try new things, to try creative things in order to study smarter. Because by the time professors and TAs get back to you with the solution, it's already too late. You need to learn how to find and curate the right information. You need to know what kind of information you can use for your assignment, what would work best and what doesn't work. And, if you're a student and you are in a flow state in trying to solve an assignment problem, you can't wait more than 3 hours. You're in a flow state. You're dialing in. You're in the process of figuring things out by failing. So by the time professors and TAs get back to you, you're already too late. You have other things to do. So, of course, you need help from generative AI technologies, even though the answers may not be correct. But even if out of, let's say, 6 generated answers, you can test out 6 of them and you can find one that is correct. And that probably takes you an hour rather than waiting 4 or 5 hours for their answer. So here's my little rant on why I'm just way too smarter to be in school, really. Some people are just way too smart to be in school. They don't belong in school. But You started something, you want to finish it. Me with an average grade, with an average GPA, if I can tutor students and consult students and help them create a system, it's like anyone can. They just need to know how to use and how to plug in all the tools that are available out there to create their own customized study system.